This is What is Happening and Why Astrology, where we look at the big picture transits, the moon phases, and how the month unravels astrologically. If you want info on your individual sign, check my AstroDice forecast put up at the beginning of each month. And consider a like, a follow, a share, or a subscribe to help my channel. Thanks for your support. Here's what is happening and why for July. In the lead up to the full moon on July the 3rd, there's a little planet cluster of aspects that set the tone for the whole of July. And it's Venus, Mars and Pallas, all here in Leo, doing shifty side-eye to Uranus. This brings up a bit of upheaval for July. Uranus wants to break free, and these guys are all getting irritated, setting up arguments, getting frustrated, not being able to get ahead. Venus, Mars and Pallas all together in Leo can be really dramatic, entitled, potentially a bit manipulative, using charm and prestige and status to get what it wants. But Uranus won't have any of that. It will bust through any facade. And by the 3rd of July, we've got a Capricorn full moon, making it a bit dark, a bit projecty, a bit of sinking down into the dark hidden stuff and bringing it to light. So whatever this frustration is at the beginning of the month, the full moon presses some buttons on some of your worries about not having enough, about not being respected, about not being recognized, and where you might have failed yourself on that. Because this bunch is moving as a group, by the 6th of July, just after that full moon, when everything's brought to the surface, Mars shifts up to make a tight aspect with Neptune. It's a quincunx, and these guys will follow suit up to the middle of the month. Because Neptune's now involved in this, there's confusion and misdirection and misunderstanding abounding. Someone's not playing fair, and it's provoking reaction. Quincunxes can really split reality. And in this case, it might be something like a double life, disassociation or denial and fantastical thinking that gets split off. Entitlements can dissolve, but also there's this foggy sense of righteousness that's a bit misplaced. And with Leo involved, there's more than a sniff of celebrity scandal. On the 11th of July, Mercury, who's in Cancer, opposes Pluto. And it can make the conversation hit a dead end. It can bring an absolute line in the sand. And it can also help you get a deeper understanding of what these bunches of tension, confusion, and hardline action are all pointing to. And essentially with Venus, where do you need to ignore other people's opinions and live up to your own standards? The flavour of this tension could be about money, it could be about relationships, it could be about how you feel others judge you, and if it's fair. If some of those judgments have hit a low blow, you're going to want to speak up for yourself, but you haven't got all the details. You're going to want to forge a very clear path, but Uranus is throwing in some wild cards. And you want to get to the truth, to the bottom of it. Mars moves into Virgo on the 11th, the same day that Mercury moves into Leo. So we've got this shift of energy coming from both sides. And maybe around the 11th, you'll see what it's all about. And it might bring out a defensive reaction or a delayed reaction. This Mercury opposite Pluto blocks the conversation and throws shade over a connection, or it stunts mobility in some way. If there's been a verbal embellishment or an exaggeration, if there's been intimidation or sketchy details, it gets a day of reckoning. And with Mars moving into Virgo the same day, there's irritation over the missing details and the disorganisation. There's a failure to deliver the way you intended. On the 18th of July, the moon's moved all around from Capricorn and come up here. New moon in Cancer. New cycle and a clear line in the sand that means you need to choose another tactic and work hard to get an obsession under control. It brings out an emphasis of changes in your family circle, your home and your resources. You're able to clear the slate or at least get a fresh perspective. That perspective gets a boost. The nodes change signs from Taurus Scorpio to Aries Libra, where they'll stay for the next 18 months. And there's a broad sweep across that clean slate you want to establish and forge a new direction. North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra means there's going to be 18 months of balancing independence versus isolation versus time out versus relationships versus autonomy. Librans and Aries peeps, you'll find a new direction opens up over this time. And wherever you have Aries in your chart, will take a leap and need a bit of bravery to push through and develop some leadership or pioneering qualities. So look and see what house you've got Aries, if there's any planets nearby, and start pointing your direction and your focus in that place. The South Node in Libra is going to be conjunct the dwarf planet Haumea. The South Node releases what's been caught up, what's been toxic, what needs to be cleared so that the North Node can push you forward. With this conjunction, the release of old stuff is happening because you've got new creative forms organically birthing. And some of that stuff you're releasing in Libra might be old and stale relationships that drain you, that don't let you grow or develop. Maybe you're feeling burnt out or exhausted, or maybe you're having a creative down patch. The South Node in Libra can be sweeping out those stale relationships and inequality, clearing out all the exes, reviewing patterns that don't serve you, and taking steps to gain more autonomy, which is the North Node pushing you forward in Aries. Haumea is a Hawaiian creation goddess who releases lava and creates new territories. She's expansive, and that could literally mean that borders change during this time and territories are grabbed or redefined. There might be a bit of reflection about where you gave your creativity away and a releasing and a letting go of that to make way for an eruption of the new. So prior to that new moon, you might be in that creative slump or chewing and brewing up new ideas before they're ready to come forth. You really got to trust yourself in this time and sit in that discomfort. Haumea is volcanic, and when she starts birthing, the process is instinctive and primal and original. By the time we hit the new moon on the 18th, and especially between the 20th and the 24th of July, these guys have moved into Virgo. And now they oppose Saturn. So we're getting a build-up of tension, sketchy promises being revealed, double lives and secrets coming out, and then accountability, attack and resistance, a dogged determination to get to the truth. In the midst of this, on the 22nd of July, Venus turns retrograde in Leo, and any resolution or definitive action on these 2 points of tension can't really be resolved until we can reflect on a much deeper issue at the heart of the matter. We're starting to go inward and need to draw our self-worth from an internal space. She's picking up a repeat story that happened 8 years ago in 2015. So it's like you've got a repeat of some of those things, or you're ready to clear it out once and for all. The same day as Venus retrograde, Chiron and Mercury make a really nice formation with each other, a trine. And in the midst of some of this confusion and feeling deceived or feeling not recognized, feeling things aren't fair, Chiron and Mercury give you access to a really deep place of healing and acceptance, uncovering some of your uniqueness and how you've become more integrated, wise and mature. Chiron trining Mercury in this phase gives you a bit of flexibility. It helps you pick up some of those missing details and grow through the experience, reconcile after harsh words or isolation. So the explosion is done, new clarity starts to open up with that new moon, and by the 22nd, everyone's gone back in their corner to lick their wounds and regroup. From the 23rd, the sun has moved into Leo, and there's definitely a lighter vibe with that. More confidence, a feeling that you've passed through a test, more self-belief. At the very end of the month on the 29th, Mercury has moved into Virgo, its hometown. And so these guys are operating at a more comfortable space, a more natural expression, and more resources to get your head clear and a plan and the strength to follow through. These aren't the most difficult aspects of the year, but it's definitely cloudy and hard to get your foot set on solid ground. It's more a time of reckoning, a time of clearing, and once the nodes have shifted, a new perspective and a shift of gears towards autonomy and independence. I'm Meryl Key, and this is my mystery school. Thanks for your support to my channel. Find me on Instagram at my_mystery school or on my website www.merylkey.com. Thanks for watching.